twin sisters, Paula and Tamitha, were finally teens. The relationship between themselves and their mom was being tested by a long, nasty, rainy, cold winter. As summer approached, Mom suggested this would be a good time to get to know Grandmother, who lives in one of the first homes built on the historic barrier islands of Florida. I know Grandma's old and crabby and smells funny, but you both could learn a lot from her. After a few
Over the river and through the woods to Grandmother's house we go. There were many old homes and sights to see, but nothing comparable to Grandmother's old house. After some hugs and some my's, we had some questions. Butter churn. Do you still make your own butter? Can I pedal the old singer while you stitch the quilt? How long did it take to make that quilt? Kerosene lamps. What do you mean, no air conditioner? Asked Paula, before Tamitha interrupted. She always interrupts. Grandma, what's that smell? Does it always smell like that here? Is this all you do? I'm getting bored.
soon Grandmother was making some encouraging threats, forcefully suggesting the girls tour the historic barrier island, maybe learn to catch a fish or something. The girls begrudgingly agreed. Grandmother knows best.
After a whirlwind jaunt, we discovered the fishing pier. Our first acquaintance was with the world-renowned Pier Fishers Club. The directors were all present: Jimmy, Johnny, Pete, and Andy. They were the contemporary model for all fishing clubs worldwide. It's politically incorrect that a minnow should lose its life so a fisher person could have a meal. "We only use artificial baits and lures," said Pete, as he impressed us with his tackle box. He modeled his Cabela's fishing hat, worn with his Columbia fishing shirt, stressing the importance of being casual but still looking good while you fish. Know what I mean? When we asked how to catch a fish, we learned how easy you could lose an expensive fishing pole. There are some dangerous creatures in the ocean. If you catch a fish, you have to clean them. They flop all over the dock. They're slimy and could cause a fisherman to slip and fall. They assured us we'd be better off just joining the club and hanging out on the pier with them. Tamitha interrupted. She always interrupts. Grandmother wants us to catch a fish. And by the way, what's that smell? Does it always smell like that here? I'm getting bored. Pete suggested we talk to the old dock master. He's kinda old and crabby. He smells funny, but catches lots of fish. If he'll talk to you, you can learn a lot from him. He's not contemporary like us, though. That's when we met Dr. Luke. We sat in front of him on the dock, told him our life story. We mentioned Grandmother. His old crabby expression changed to a crooked little smile. He exclaimed, "Magdalene Alwaltine is your grandmother? In 1936 she was the Sadie Hawkins Parade Queen. What a looker!" "TMI," said Tamitha. Just before she interrupted with a question about the smell, Dr. Luke started talking.
If you want to catch fish, you have to fish when they're biting. You have to use the bait they're feeding on. Keep it simple. Stay with the basics. Don't pay no attention to the dock critics. Never try to land a green fish. When they're through fighting, they'll practically land themselves. He then drew a simple diagram for a hand line. Next thing you know, Paula was testing out her casting skills, which netted a full 10 feet from the pier. Under much encouraging threats from the Model Pier Club, almost immediately the jug began to zip through the water, and the tube stretched to the left, causing the huge fish to turn and run to the right, and again stretch the tube as a shock absorber. By now, they had tangled with every line on the dock. "Aren't you going to land the fish?" exclaimed the critics. Dr. Luke smiled proudly as his two disciples said confidently, "We never try to land a green fish. When he's tired of fighting, he'll practically land himself." Many churches are like the Pier Fishing Club. They major on being accepted in this contemporary world. They do a lot of good things and look good while they're doing them. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, the clock is ticking. Jesus began his Galilean ministry with these words: "Come, follow me. I will make you become fishers of men." As he ascended, he says, "Preach the gospel to every creature. Keep it simple, for God so loved the world, he gave his only Son, that whosoever believes on him shall not perish, but have everlasting life."